Namaste and good morning, children. I hope you all are fine and doing well with your families, safe at home. I hope you're enjoying all your classes which are being sent to you through Snap, not just studies, but other things also like yoga or music or artwork which is being sent to you. So I hope you all are enjoying yourselves. And also, not just these, you can even try your hand at new skills at home, learn new things from your parents, from your grandparents, and spend some quality time with your family members, right? Okay, so now coming back to EVS 1, we had completed chapter 1 in the previous 2 sessions. I had sent you the question answers plus worksheets and solutions, everything. I hope your written work is complete and your chapter 1 is also complete, right? Today we will start with chapter 2. The chapter 2 is animals, habitats and adaptations, right? Right. So this is our next chapter, which is chapter 2, animals and adaptations, habitats and adaptations. So if you see over here, you can see 4 different pictures. One is of forest, one is of a desert, one is of a cold place, maybe the polar regions, and this is a place under the sea. Now you see there are animals present everywhere, but the animals present are different. So the conditions here in the first picture are different, lots of greenery, grass, trees, etc. Here, no grass, no greenery, dry land, lots of heat, sun. Here, you have lots of cold ice, very cold water. And here, the animals are completely underwater. So the various conditions in which the animals live are called their habitats. And to live in these conditions, they have to make some changes in their bodies. Those changes are called the adaptations, right? So first, we'll check out the definitions of the 2 words. There are 2 words in the name of the chapter, habitats and adaptations. So what is habitat? The environment where an organism naturally lives and reproduces is called its habitat. It lives naturally over there only, reproduces, grows, dies, the younger generations grow there, and so on and so forth, right? So that is called the habitat. So if I take the example for camel, it lives in the desert, it grows there, reproduces there, and ultimately lives its whole life in the desert. Similarly, a polar bear lives only in the polar regions, right? So this way you have different kinds of animals living in different areas, and those areas where they grow and live naturally are called their habitats, right? Now, to live in that habitat, the animals have to make changes in their features and their habits. For example, a polar bear cannot survive in a desert and a camel cannot survive in a polar area, or octopus cannot survive outside water. So they have made some changes in their bodies, in their habits, in their features, which help them to survive in those specific conditions, right? So these features or changes in the habits due to which they are able to survive in that habitat are called their adaptations. They've made changes or adaptations in themselves, right? So these are the 2 keywords we are discussing, habitat and adaptations, right? Okay, so next we start with the various habitats. The first picture you see is of a forest. Forest as a habitat. A forest will have lots of greenery, trees, bushes, grass, shrubs, etc. And lots of animals live in different areas of the forest. Some animals will live on the trees high up. Some slightly lower down on the trees. They climb to some extent to the trees. Some will live only on the ground and some live under the ground, right? So the forest is a habitat for different kinds of animals, and they use different areas of the forest also to live, to grow, to feed, etc. Right? For example, the forest habitats have a large number of plants and trees, lots of plants and trees, right? Greenery, lots of greenery. A variety of animals live in various places like caves. Lions and tigers live in caves. There are natural structures available there within rocks, within mountains. They are called caves. Lions and tigers live in caves. On trees, birds and monkeys, they live on trees. Then we have in burrows, snakes and rabbits under the ground live in burrows. Then on the forest floor, deer, elephant, insects, etc. They live on the floor of the forest, right? Animals that live in the forest have well-developed limbs to help them run and walk. Now, what are limbs? Limbs are our limbs. What we humans have are the arms and the legs, right? So similarly, most animals have 4 legs on their bodies, and those are called the limbs, right? So they have well-developed limbs to run and walk around in the forest. Limbs also help to hunt or run away from the predators. Now, who are predators? Either the animals have to hunt other animals or they will get hunted by other animals, right? So the one which gets hunted is called the prey. The one which is hunting the other is called the predator. For example, if I take the case of a lion and a deer, the lion is the predator and the deer is the prey, right? So the animal which is eaten up or is being attacked is called the prey, and the animal which is attacking is called the predator, right? So here is the word web. Limbs are hands and legs. Now we have hands and legs. Animals have 4 limbs, which are called the forelimbs and the hind limbs. Before means aage ya pehle, behind means piche or at the back. So the 4 limbs, before, the word comes from before. The 4 limbs, F-O-R-E, 4 limbs are the ones which are in the front, and from behind we get the word hind, the hind limbs, which are the limbs at the back, right? So animals generally have a pair of 4 limbs, 2 forelimbs and 2 hind limbs, right? Predator is an animal that kills and eats other animals. And this is one more word, scanty, very little, which we will learn in the next habitat. Scanty means very little or very less, right? Next habitat is your desert. Now, if you can see, it's a desert. Mostly, we call the camel as the ship of the desert. Camel is the most common animal found in deserts. Very hot, hardly any vegetation, no plants, no trees. Cactuses are the main organisms or the plants that grow there. In addition to camel, we have other animals like the meerkat, a fox, a rattlesnake, scorpions, a hawk or a vulture. Vulture, basically this is a vulture. So these animals are found in the desert areas, right? Animals in deserts have special features to survive there. Again, they have adaptations or special features to live in the desert area. And what are they? Camels have thick, broad feet that help them walk easily on loose sand. If many a times you must have seen when your mama wears pencil heels and goes to a party which is in the garden, grassland, her heels tend to dip into the soil very easily, but your shoes don't sink into the sand easily. So we realize that the broader the base of the shoe, the less tendency for it to go into the soil. The more pointed and sharp it is easier for it to go into the soil, right? So the camel does not want its feet to get sinking into the sand. So the feet are broad and padded so that they can walk easily on the sand and not sink into the sand, right? They also have thick eyelids that protect their eyes from the sand blowing with the wind. Lots of sandstorms happen. With every little bit of wind, the sand will blow and go into the eyes. Must have happened with you so many times when you go out during a storm and all the dust goes into your eyes and it is so irritating, right? So they have thick eyelids which protect their eyes from the dust going into their eyes, right? They store water and fat in their humps for use in times of scarcity. Scarcity means jab kam milega, right? So basically, in a place like a desert, you won't get water everywhere, you won't get food every time. So what they do is when there is water and food available, they eat lots and store the water and the food in the form of fat in their hump, and they use it when they don't get the supply of food and water, right? Excuse me. Some desert animals live in burrows to escape the heat. When you will go deeper into the soil, you will avoid the heat of the sun, right? So what these animals do, especially your scorpions, your rattlesnake, rats, etc., such animals, they make burrows under the rocks and they go under the soil during the daytime and they hide there. Maximum heat during the daytime, they avoid that heat by staying in the cool burrows underneath. When it becomes night and the sun goes away, they come out and start hunting and looking for food at night. So this helps them to survive in the hot conditions of a desert, right? Okay, next we will discuss a few question answers, right? I will be sending you a link of a file from where you can write the question answers in your notebooks. You will follow the same format as we did for chapter 1. First question, what is a habitat? We just now discussed in the definitions. The environment where the organisms naturally lives and reproduces is called its habitat. And what is adaptation? The features and habits that help organisms to survive in their habitats are called adaptations. Right? This we had already discussed in the definitions. Next question, third question is, list some adaptations shown by desert animals to survive there. Animals in deserts have special features to survive there. Camels have thick, broad feet that help them walk easily on loose sand. They also have thick eyelids that protect their eyes from the sand blowing with the winds. They store water and fat in their humps for use in times of scarcity. Some desert animals live in burrows to escape heat. All these points I had just discussed, so the answer is almost clear to you. You just need to note it down into your notebooks, right? Next habitat is the polar and mountain regions. Why have we clubbed them together? Because mostly both places are very cold. The polar regions are very cold. The mountains are also very cold. But one difference being there that in the polar regions you will have water also in which the icebergs float. But in mountain regions you don't have water. But it is again a very cold habitat. That is why we've clubbed them together into one, which is polar and mountain regions. Here you see various animals like the polar bear, the walrus, then you see the penguin, you see the dolphin, you see this is the dolphin, this is the whale, etc. So all these animals live in the polar region, right? Animals that live in polar regions and mountains have to live in very cold conditions throughout the year, right? It's very cold throughout the year and they have to live in very cold conditions. So when it is very cold, just now winters have gone, right? So what did you have? You had sweaters and jackets and blankets and quilts to keep you warm. So these animals also need something to keep themselves warm. Otherwise they will feel cold. So what do? So they have the following features to help them survive in extremely cold conditions. Animals like polar bears have thick fur on their body that keeps them warm. Equivalent to your sweater, right? Thick wool fur on your body which protects you and retains the body heat inside your body and does not let it go out and therefore keeps you warm. Also some animals, penguins and some other animals have a layer of fat under the skin called blubber. This helps in keeping their body warm. Blubber is nothing but a layer of fat. During summers, these animals, because even in polar areas and mountains, there is a cold season and there is a warm season. It may not be hot, but a warm season where the vegetation is more and they get more to eat. And the winters would be the harsh conditions where they will not get food and they will get less food to eat. So the blubber acts two ways. One, to keep it warm, and two, to even provide food in the lean conditions when there is no food available. So they store extra fat in the form of blubber under their skin. This acts like an insulator. Insulator is something like you have material inside your jackets, which is keeps you warm. Otherwise, jacket is just a thin material, but there's some whitish material inside which retains the heat inside. That is called an insulation. So they have the fat acts like an insulator, traps the body heat inside and keeps the animal warm. And also, if food is not available, it will provide food in adverse conditions. Take. So the next question we discuss is, I'm so sorry, we'll go back, I moved ahead. What are the adaptations of animals living in very cold places? Animals like polar bears have thick fur on their body that keeps them warm. Penguins have a layer of fat under the skin called blubber. It helps in keeping their body warm. And the next question is, what is blubber? It is a thick layer of fat under the skin of animals that live in very cold places. It's called blubber, right? Okay, Next, we come to the next habitat, which is the oceans. Now, what happens in the oceans is the animals are all underwater, right? Perfectly fine. But there is a difference between ocean and other water bodies. The ocean has lots of salt in it. Many of you have been to seas and beaches and oceans, beaches near the ocean, and you must have seen that the water is salty, right? It's a salt water, it is not fresh water. So we say water is of two types, water bodies are of two types, salt water bodies and fresh water bodies. So the oceans and seas are salt water. So there's a lot of salt in the water, due to which the living conditions are different for the animals and their adaptations have to be different. An animal which lives in an ocean cannot live in a lake. And an animal which lives in a lake, which is a freshwater body, cannot live in the ocean. The reason being the amount of salt around them is different, due to which the water movement from within the body to outside is different, due to which an animal living in the sea, if kept in the lake, will die. And similarly, an animal which generally jiska habitat, natural habitat is the lake, if it is put into the ocean, it will die, right? So that is why these two habitats are taken as separate, oceans and freshwater habitats. So right now we are discussing the ocean habitat. And you can see lots of animals over there. You have starfish, you have fishes of different kinds, you have this octopus and different kinds of fishes, sponges. These are the sponges which grow on the seabed. You have shells, you have oysters, you have jellyfish, lots of such animals, right? Okay, oceans are the largest habitats of the world and contain salt water. As I told you, there is salt water in them. It's not fresh water, right? And they're the largest habitats of the world. Biggest, the oceans are the biggest, right? Examples are the Pacific Ocean, Arctic Ocean, Atlantic Ocean, etc. You've studied in your EVS 2, other kinds of other oceans which are there, right? Big and small fish of different types are found in the saltwater habitats. Crabs, starfish, shark, whale, prawns, sea turtle, seahorses, jellyfish, electric rays, octopuses, and many other types of animals are found here, right? And next we come to the freshwater. Like I told you, there's a difference between saltwater and freshwater. So the freshwater becomes a different habitat, right? Here you can see over here fishes, ducks, frog, snail, and some insects flying on top. So this becomes the habitat of freshwater animals. Freshwater habitats include various ponds, lakes, streams, and rivers, right? They all have fresh water. Fresh water means it's not salty, you can drink it. It's not horrible in taste. But the salt water tastes salty in taste, right? So ponds, lakes, streams, and rivers. Various kinds of fish, frogs, and snakes live in this habitat. For that matter, even in salty water, sea water, ocean water, you have different kinds of snakes, and you have different kinds of snakes which live in fresh water. And we have different kinds of snakes which live on land also. So you have different species of snakes which live in different places, right? Different habitats. And their bodies will be adapted accordingly to live in those habitats, right? Frogs use their long hind legs and webbed feet for swimming and jumping also. The long hind legs help them in jumping and hopping on the land close to the freshwater pond, and the webbed feet help them in swimming in the water. Water birds such as ducks and swan swim in water with their webbed feet. And we also have some cranes and herons which live on the edges of the water bodies. If you look at the book, you have a picture of a crane also. They generally live on the outer edges of the lake or pond, and they feed on the fishes inside the freshwater ponds, right? So we stop here today. I do not want to start the next topic, which is your adaptations, which you will take up in the next lecture in the next class, right? So children, I hope you have followed most of the concepts. I want you to read the pages once again, go through the content, and in case you have any doubts or queries, what you can do is you go to the comment section of the video. you go scroll down and you will find the comments section. In the comments section, you can put in your queries over there. Maybe from the previous chapter also, I don't mind, because we did not have any kind of an interaction or a feedback from you regarding your understanding of the previous chapters. So if you have any queries from chapter 1 or from the current content of chapter 2, you can just put it in your comments, and I will respond back to you either individually or in my next lecture, depending on the level of your queries, right? So once again, have a good day, stay safe, enjoy, and use this quality time you are getting. It's a bonus time you're getting to spend with your family and your family members, your parents, your grandparents, brothers, sisters, etc. Use this time bonding, loving, caring, and helping each other, right? Okay, that's Abha ma'am signing off now for you, and we'll meet in the next class, right? Goodbye.